Okay, the next type of proportion that we're going to be working with is percent of change. So let's take a look at that word, percent. We know we're going to be dealing with a percentage, and of change. We know that our number is going to change, whether it's going to increase or decrease. It doesn't really matter, but we're going to figure out by what percent does it change. So our vocabulary, of course, percent of change, it's a ratio. A ratio is a fraction that compares the change in quantity to the original amount. So there's your comparison, change to original. So when we set up our proportion, that's exactly how we set it up. Change over the original amount. And that is going to equal our percentage over our magic number of 100 that we've been using for percentages. There's two different types of percentage change, the increase or the decrease. Percent of increase could be like when you go shopping at a store and the price that you pay for it. Well, if you pay $20 for a pair of shoes, that store did not buy the shoes for $20 originally. They bought them for $10, and then they're selling them to you for $20. That's called markup, and that's how they make their profit. A percent of decrease, an example of that is kind of like a discount when you get a discount at a store. Another percent of increase is taxes. That's a way that they increase your dollar amount. Another percent of decrease is, let's see, we've got a sale, a discount, like when population decreases, all those types of things is a percent of decrease. You just have to figure out what percentage it decreased by. So here again is your proportion. They've shown you two different ways to set it up. The amount of change over the original amount is equal to the percent or of 100, or you can think of it as the difference. The difference is between the high amount and the low amount over the original amount. We're always comparing our change to the original amount. That's very, very important. Okay, so take a look right here. Here's our first example. We've got 6 over 4. It changed by $6. Our original amount was $4. What percent of that? So we cross multiply. 6 times 100 is 600 is equal to 4 times x, and then we of course divide by 4, so 600 divided by 4. 4 will go into 6 one time. 4 will go into 25 times, and then 4 will go into 0 times. So we ended up with a change of 150%. And you're probably thinking, well, how is that possible? It changed over 100%. Well, look at our original number. Our original number was 4. For it to change 100%, it would have to change by 4. Well, it didn't change by 4. It changed by more than 4. It changed by 6. So our percentage that's over 100% actually does make sense. When your change is greater than the original number, you do get a percentage of more than 100%. On the first week of school, 50 students in the school did not turn in their homework. On the second week of school, only 30 students did not turn in their homework. Find the percent of decrease. So originally it was 50 students. Original students goes on our bottom. We're always comparing it to original. But then what is the change? It went from 50 to 30. It was a change of 20 students. So our percentage is 20 out of 50. Equals our percent over 100, because we're always solving for a percent. That 100 is always there, guys, always. Why is it always there? Because we're talking about a percentage. Now, technically, you guys really don't have to do this cross, multiply, and divide. Why? Because you see 20 over 50, what can you do? Reduce 2/5. 2/5 is equal to what? 40%. Okay, you should know that. You should have that memorized. Okay. Backside, example number 3. Jake had $600 in his checking account. He now has $654 in his checking account. Is this an example of a percent of increase or a percent decrease? Well, how much did it change? It changed by $54. It went by $54, a $54 increase. Now, does that mean it's a 54% increase? Whoops, wrote that on the wrong line, guys. Sorry. 54 increase, $54. Does that mean it's a 54% increase? No, it's $54. So we have to figure out what percentage is $54 out of our original amount of $600. So 54 over 600 is equal to percent over 100. Okay, there's our proportion. Cross multiply. 5,400 divided by 600. Getting rid of my 2 zeros. 6 will go into 54 9 times. So it is a 9% increase. Okay, example 4. Kenya spent 60 minutes reading yesterday. Today she spent 45 minutes reading. What is the percent of change? Well, first, how much does it change? She went from 60 minutes to 45, changed by 15 minutes. So our proportion is 15-minute change over our original 60 minutes is equal to x over 100. Sometimes when you get a proportion like this, you can see that your first comparison can be reduced. 15 over 60 can be reduced to what? 15 divided by 15 is 1. 60 divided by 15 is 4, 1/4. So you already have 1/4 memorized. That is 25%. Now, can you do that on all problems? No, we couldn't do that on the problem before. We actually physically had to cross multiply and then divide to find our percentage. But sometimes they give you friendly numbers and you can just reduce. Example 5. 3 months ago, Maya could walk 2 miles in 40 minutes. Today he can walk 2 miles in 25 minutes. What is the percent of change? Well, we didn't change our distance. They're both 2 miles, so we must be comparing our minutes, 40 minutes to 25 minutes. It changed by 15 minutes, so 15 minutes out of our original 40 minutes, percent over 100. Can we reduce 15 over 40? Sure we can, by 5. That'll be 3 over 8. So 3 times 100 is 300 divided by 8. So our answer is 37.5%. Okay. Right here are a couple of models about how they show if you've got 0% over here to 100% and you have a 50% increase, well, you're taking half of that bar and adding it to the original bar. It's just a way to show you pictorially how it increases. Okay, which of the following represents the greatest percent of change? And we've got 4 choices here. A coat that was originally priced at $90 is now $72. Well, how much did it change? It changed by $18 over our original $90. A puppy that weighed 6 ounces is now 96 ounces. So that changed 90 ounces over the original 6 ounces. A child grew from 54 inches to 6 inches. It changed from 6 inches to our original 54 inches. And then a savings account increased from $500 to $550. The change is $50 over the original $500. Now take a look at these fractions. 18 over 90, that's a normal fraction. 90 over 6, that's a very improper fraction. 6 over 54, normal fraction. 50 over 500, normal fraction. There is only one that was an improper fraction, and we know that improper fractions are greater than 1. Greater than 1 is going to create our largest percent, so there's your answer right there. Your final step is to give me a couple sentences summarizing your percent of change proportions.